right.
Okay, so, okay, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. Can we get the flag up?
Sure can.
All right. There we go.
There.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag
of the United States
States of America,
and
and to the republic for which
For which
it
it
stands,
One
one
nation,
nation,
indivisible,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty
and justice
and
for all.
justice for all.
For all.
thank you, everyone. I apologize immensely for being so late here.
That's okay.
Okay, call to order. Can we have the roll call?
Now, first, I got to do the open meetings.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You got
And I got to
that.
do the long one because we're on Zoom. So pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, notice that the meeting was given in the annual notice, which was emailed to the Herald News, the Record Office of the County Clerk, and posted on the PCCC website and bulletin boards on February 24th, 2022. The public may participate in this meeting only during the public portion, which take place near the end of the meeting. To be recognized to speak, members of the public who are attending on Zoom via the web should use the raise hand function. Upon recognition by the chair, you will unmute your microphone video. Members of the public who are attending the meeting via phone call must hit *9 on their phone keypad to raise their hand to be recognized. Upon recognition by the chair, they can mute their audio by using *6 on their phone keypad. Individuals addressing the board must give their name and address in an audible tone and will have 5 minutes to make their statement. Comments from the public, which are provided by email or written letter, will be read aloud during the meeting in a manner audible to all participants and the public. The time limit for public comment shall apply to comments received via email or written letter. Such comments will be read from the beginning until the time limit is reached. The board may pass over duplicate written and emailed comments. However, each duplicate comment shall be noted for the record within the comments. Done.
Wow, you did that all in one
Okay.
breath. That's right.
You
Okay,
did.
so
Take a breath, Steve.
All right, roll call.
roll call.
Alumni Rep Martinez,
I am here.
Trustee Drakeford,
Here.
very good. Trustee Esquiche,
Here.
Trustee Glovin,
Present.
Trustee Montanez Diadene, absent. Trustee Moody,
Present.
thank you. Trustee Nutter,
here,
Trustee Poe,
Here.
Trustee Smith. Oh, I see Trustee Montanez Diadene coming on. Trustee Smith is not here. Vice Chair Tanis,
Here.
Chairman Marco,
Here.
you have a
Thank
quorum.
Thank you, Michael. Okay, the first order of business is the consideration of the minutes of the January 18th, 2022 Board of Trustees meeting. Are there any corrections to the minutes? None? Okay, hearing none. May I have a motion on resolution number 1?
I'll move it.
Move
Okay,
move it.
By Trustee Glovin, who's second?
Second.
Trustee
Moody.
Moody.
Nudie.
Very good, thank you. Okay, so on the motion to approve the minutes of the January meeting, Trustee Drakeford,
Yes.
thank you. Trustee Esquiche,
Yes.
Trustee Glovin,
Yes.
Trustee Montanez Diadene,
Yes.
thank you. Trustee Moody,
Yes.
Trustee Nutter,
yes,
Trustee Poe,
Yes.
Vice Chair Tanis,
Yes.
Chairman Marco.
Yes.
The minutes have been approved.
Okay. Dr. Rose, show is yours.
Okay, a couple of things this evening for you. One of the things, a couple of months ago, you passed a resolution appointing this company, EMSI, to do a study for us of a program demand gap analysis. And basically what we need to do is every couple of years, we want to make sure that what we're offering are the right courses, are the type of courses that are going to be where students are going to get jobs, they're going to get jobs at decent wages, and we're fulfilling the needs of Passaic County with the type of programs that we have. So what we've given you tonight is an executive summary of some preliminary analysis. There's going to be a final report, and we'll make sure you have all the final report. We're going over a couple of things we're questioning right now. But Chris, could you put up that slide that we've got? All right, so you can see it. This is just the basically what they're doing is this. MC Burning Glass is a leading provider of labor market data to complete a program demand gap analysis, which assesses regional job openings against educational program completions. Go to the next one, Chris. So what they've got here is, and then we're just going to do this one thing. Basically, they've got things in several categories. High demand, low supply. Obviously, that is the group of programs which we concentrate on the most. These are and basically the question they asked there is, how could we expand these program opportunities? So these are there's a lot of demand. It's going to be a lot of jobs in these areas, but there's not a lot of supply. So these are things we need to look at: increasing our program offerings, adding new programs if necessary. So you've got here phlebotomy technician. You've got culinary arts, and obviously we're doing a lot in that area. And we do have phlebotomy technician that we're training as well. Education in general.
Yeah.
And we do early childhood education here in most, but we have a pre-education program. Accounting, technology, technician, and bookkeeping. Lot of demand, but not a lot of programs putting out people. Accounting and related services, health services, allied health, early childhood education, teaching. Jackie, any comments?
I was just going to say that even though the health science, allied health science / general is not well defined there, what we would do is we would probably try to drill down into that category using another part of the MC review, which is called, it gives you an analysis, a specific analysis of programs in that category. So just to give you an example, one thing I'm sort of watching is surgical tech. So I can go to this analysis and find out what the hourly rate is for a surgical tech, and if it's in demand, which we know it's in demand. And then we might want to consider that. This isn't the only criteria we would use. We would then maybe look at our advisory committees to ask for some advice. Is surgical tech a hot area? Is that something that you could suggest to us? And so that's pretty much the way we go about it. So this is certainly excellent, but it's just one tool that we use.
So the next category: high demand, high supply. So there's going to be a lot of job openings here, but there's other educational programs, including ours, that are doing these things right now. We have to be a little more cautious here. We've got to make sure that the training that we're providing is certainly at least as good, if not superior. We want employers to want our graduates going into these jobs. So it's things like emergency medical technician. I will tell you right now, we have got a waiting list of people to take our EMT program. EMT is governed by a lot of state regulation, and they very clearly state how many we could take at a time, when we could run a class, and what the student ratios are in those classes. So right now we've got a lot more people who want to become EMTs than we could even handle, and we're waiting for the state to open up things so we can do more. There's also a very hard time getting instructors in these fields, because when there are openings, employers who need EMTs are willing to pay a lot of money for people to ride the ambulance, and therefore they're not as willing to take jobs teaching. So we're having a lot of trouble filling the training jobs in these areas. Criminal justice, safety studies, computer systems, networking and telecommunications, homeland security, law enforcement, firefighting, criminal justice. You see a theme there. Business and commerce in general, and social work. Jackie, any comments on any of these?
Well, I think we, we cover this group pretty well. And I just want to make a note about the social work. We now have the 2+2 program with Ramapo, which allows students to get a BSW and not leave the Patterson campus.
And Chris, go to next slide. All right, so low demand, low supply.
Right.
Obviously, there may be an opening for us in these areas. While there's not a lot of demand, there's also not a lot of supply, and somebody needs to do it. So when you look at community health worker, dietary manager program, data entry, automotive engineer, automotive. Well, I think it's automotive. Probably have to change that. Substance abuse, hotel, motel, and restaurant management, and music technology. Some of these are programs that we have, and so we've got to be carefully evaluate them. Clearly, probably not programs we want to expand right now because of they're saying that there's going to be low demand, but we'll see. The last category is low demand and high supply. We are absolutely puzzled by this registered nurse being.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah,
How could that be?
We're trying to figure this one out. What it says, we have a much longer report. We've got a 140-page report that we're looking at. And what there is a proprietary school in Bergen County called Jersey College. They also have a campus in Florida as well. Those are the only two. They have Bergen County in Florida. It's a proprietary school that trains LPNs, licensed practical nurses, but also has a program where after they finish becoming LPNs, they can go into an RN completion program and get a degree as a registered nurse. According to the report, it says they are putting out a large number of nurses into the community, and that is why they're saying that there is high supply and low demand. We're not exactly sure where this is coming from. We're going to work on this and get back to you on that one, but this is the preliminary report. Jackie, you have any other insights there?
No, the only thing I could say is it does say associate degree after registered nurse. Maybe they were looking at, before the pandemic, some of the large hospitals were very big on only hiring bachelor's degree nurses because they wanted a certain designation. If you had a certain percentage of baccalaureate nurses, you can get magnet certification. Right. Of course, that's all changed through the pandemic. I think any nurse could get a great job anywhere. So I think we need to talk to them about that.
But it is true. If they went to St. Joe's, which is the largest employer in Passaic County, and they said, what is the demand for associate degree nurses? They would say none right now because our students are, and we do have a 3+1 program now with Ramapo. Right. So our students stay here for 3 years, go one more year to Ramapo, then they have a baccalaureate in nursing, and then they're in high demand. So I think this just may be a nomenclature, issue, but I think they have to state it a little differently. Go ahead, Jack.
I was just going to say that, we have to look at the RN program now as not just a program that puts someone to work immediately, but also as a ladder to other higher paying jobs like nurse practitioner, so that you have to begin somewhere. And hopefully a lot of our students will go on and get their master's and become nurse practitioners. We right now have, I think, 2 faculty members that began in our nursing program.
Yep. And now some of them are going for their doctorate in nursing.
That's right. That's right.
Doctorate in nursing practice. So, there's tremendous opportunity in nursing, as we know, right. But we need to, and one of the things is, there is not a career path to a nurse practitioner or to a nurse anesthesiologist or any of those things, except from the RN. Right. You can't become an LPN and go into those fields. You've got to get the RN. So, we're the building block for to get to any of those careers in nursing that you've got to go through an RN program to get there. The other programs here, occupational therapist assistant, and then we get into the general liberal arts, psychology, sociology, humanities. They're saying high supply, low demand, and that's probably
Right.
true. There's a lot of
Right.
students get these degrees and they go out and get general jobs, not using the career that they have.
Yes.
Some go into training programs and this and that, banking, go into other things where they don't need a specific degree, and where they're going to hire you because of the skills you got as a college graduate, but not specifically for the fields that they're in. So this is preliminary, but happy to share it with you, and happy to answer any questions about it that you might have.
Can I ask a question?
As many as you want.
Well, I know the thing, reading the report, it sounds like they only took into account Bergen and Passaic counties for
Yes.
job. Is that
Yes.
so?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
Now, so does this only reflects, so if, for example, if there was a need for something, I'll just use an example, in Essex or Morris, it
Right.
wouldn't be reflected in this report, correct?
Correct.
That's correct.
So isn't that kind of a small universe? Shouldn't we
Yeah,
expand
but
it?
but that's our service area. I mean, it's certainly Passaic, and while I'm, we're, every time we have a program, especially our higher cost programs, we want to make sure that we're spending the money on what the needs are of Passaic County. We want to make sure that the businesses and in hospitals and whoever needs where the jobs are going to be there. We don't want to spend a lot of money training people if there's not a demand in Passaic County. Now that doesn't. So what I think what you're getting at, it doesn't mean that our students are not going to get jobs. If they're willing to travel to Morris County, if they're willing to travel other places, they can get a job. But, in terms of our spending our resources, we want to, we are Passaic County Community College. So we want
No, fair enough. I just was wondering about the scope of
Yep.
this. So, because that's what it said in the report, only
Yep.
in Bergen and Passaic. So that's
Yep.
why I was-
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
and the whole thing is we can get the general
Right.
information about all these things very easily. State of New Jersey or national stuff. What you can't get, and that's what we need them to do, is the more localized stuff. So
I
we'll,
have a question.
in a lot of cases, it's the same thing, but there are some unique things for Passaic County. Yes, Trustee Moody.
Yeah, in parentheses, you have T-T. What does that stand for?
Jackie?
I think
Transfer
that's
track.
I'm sorry.
Transfer track.
That's what I thought. Yes,
Yeah.
right.
Thank you.
Dr. Rose, the psychology, what's the natural progression for the next master's or doctorate degree?
After here, you've got to go get your bachelor's.
Right.
Right?
And so you got a lot of degrees until you get the one where there's going to be demand.
Okay.
So there's a lot of people transferring to four-year colleges in biology, in psychology, and sociology. There are very few jobs at the associate degree level in those fields. Now, it
Mhm.
doesn't mean you can't get a job, but you're not going to get a job with an associate degree as a psychologist or a sociologist.
Right, okay.
Any other questions? All right.
Hearing none, maybe we can go right to reports, Dr. Rose.
Sure. Just wanted to just fill you in, as a few of us were chatting before we started here, February is a month where a lot of us, a couple of us from the board usually go down to Washington, to meet with our elected officials. And obviously COVID put quite a damper on that this year. They did hold the conference, but there were, a fraction of the normal number of people there. And most significantly, all of the meetings where we usually go up on Capitol Hill and meet with our elected representatives were held via Zoom and not held in person. So I think the people who went down, I think we made the right decision not to go, from what I've heard from the people who went, because they spent most of their time in their hotel room looking at a computer screen, talking to their representatives. But the good news is that we did get to meet with Congressman Pascrell, and he joined us for a half hour. Congressman Gottheimer also met with us. We met with a representative of Representative Cheryl, and we met with Cory Booker, joined us for a half hour, and so did Senator Menendez join us for a half hour. And I think the meetings were very good. Mike joined me on them, and I think, you know, especially our two congressmen, Congressman Pascrell and Gottheimer, who joined us, were incredibly engaged. And, you know, both of them are very strong supporters of community colleges, and they are articulated it very well. What's going on right now, you know, in terms of the agenda is, you know, the Build Back Better plan, which was, you know, going through the reconciliation process until it fell apart in Washington, had an incredible amount of things for community colleges. You know, as we know, the Biden administration is more community college pro than we probably have ever had. As most of you know, Dr. Jill Biden is a community college professor at Northern Virginia Community College, and she is pushing the community college agenda nationally and certainly in Washington. And so obviously, it does not look like now that we're going to get a reconciliation bill to what we thought, which was going to be the big spending bill. So they're going to try and do some of these pieces individually. And we're going to be working our representatives in Washington to see how much of what was in the original Build Back Better plan that we can get through. And right now, it is anyone's guess exactly what's going to go on in Washington. But there's a tremendous amount of goodwill, a tremendous amount of job training bills, things that will, you know, get exactly what the kind of things that community colleges do. So we're very anxious to see what actually happens. I mean, we're obviously not giving up. There's quite an agenda that we're pushing. And, you know, some of the things, like I will tell you, one of the things that's, you know, kind of ridiculous is, I think most of you know, when you get a Pell Grant, the Pell Grant will pay for your bill at the college, will pay for it. And then if there's money left over, it goes towards your living expenses. And that money actually gets refunded to the student. Well, in the tax laws, there's actually a quirk in the tax laws, which makes any of the money that we give back to students taxable to them. That was never the intent of what they want, but students have to declare that money. And fortunately, Congressman Pascrell, who's on the Ways and Means Committee, when this got into the Build Back Better bill, that it would no longer be taxable to students who, but of course that fell apart. But Congressman Pascrell is still pushing this. And he is one of the leaders on the Ways and Means Committee on community college issues. So it's really great to have, you know, someone down there who understands community colleges, especially as a former trustee here at Passaic. He certainly understands community colleges, and he is pushing the agenda down there. So we're really glad to have him down there, and he's playing a role right now for us. So next year, all plans are we're going to be back in Washington. We're going to be in the offices, and we're going to be doing what we've done before. And hopefully quite a few of you will be able to go down with us, and we'll be able to get back to normal. But this year just wasn't to be.
Wasn't in the cards.
Any questions on any of that? So we did provide a variance report for you on where we stand on the budget this year. And, you know, as you've heard from us almost every month, and as you heard in December when we did the audit, you know, these are not normal times. You know, obviously, you know, our revenue is way off, but our expenses are also down. And we are getting, you know, have gotten to this point quite a bit of supplemental aid from both the state of New Jersey and especially from the federal government. What we did here, and I'm going to give Stephen Hardy the full credit here, the memo that's in there is something that he put together, because I think we wanted to kind of give you a sense of why this is, you know, a very unique variance at this point. And, you know, last year we ended up with almost $10 million at the end of the year. we are not sure where we're going to end up this year. What you've got is a very conservative view of where we think we'll end up. It will probably be considerably higher than you see there. This just shows you that we're in really good shape for this year. Part of what we're waiting for is some of the funds that we have right now from the federal government. There's an end date by which we have to expend them. And in all federal programs that we have, typically there's something called a no-cost extension. So when we have a grant at the end, when it expires at the end of 4 years, and if there's any money left, typically it's fairly routine that we could apply for a no-cost extension, and we'll have another year in order to spend that money. The monies that we've got for COVID right now are not yet eligible to apply for a no-cost extension. And they haven't committed yet whether they're going to be giving them. What we've figured out in the last few weeks and what we've been hearing out of Washington is we think it's more likely than not that they are going to give us a no-cost extension. That means we can carry over some of these monies until next year. And especially for our students, that would be really important. Right now, we'll spend all the money we have if we have to by the deadline. But the fact of the matter is, it will serve our students a lot better if we can, if we can help our students a little this year and help our students a little next year, because it's very clear COVID is not going to be going away anytime soon. The impacts of it certainly are going to be with us for a long time. And if we could have more time to spend this money and to help students over a longer period of time, it's going to be beneficial to everyone. So we believe we're going to know in the next week or two whether we're going to be eligible to expend this money over the next year and a half, or we only have 6 months left in order to spend it. So when we know that, and that's what we try to explain in this memo to you, to try and give you some sense of where things are. Any questions on that?
Not good.
It needs legislative approval, right, Dr. Rose?
No, it doesn't.
No? Oh,
It
that's
does not
good.
need,
That's
it
better.
does not need legislative approval. Now, a little push from the legislature won't hurt.
Okay.
So if they advocate for it, it won't hurt, but it's totally up to U.S. Department of Education, actually, whether it's given. Now, obviously, when these funds were approved by the federal government, the whole idea was to get them out into the hands of people as quickly as you could.
Right.
They wanted to try and fight a recession. And that's why they wanted this money. Nobody was anticipating that there'd be inflation, and nobody was anticipating that we might overstimulate the economy. As a matter of fact, they didn't care. They wanted that money out there,
Right.
to get into people's hands to help the people who needed it the most at the time. So at the beginning, they didn't anticipate or even contemplate a no-cost extension because they wanted that money out there. They wanted us to spend it quickly. Now, obviously, it's changed a little in Washington, and they feel we may have overstimulated the economy. So it seems good economic policy right now to extend the runway to spend these funds. But we'll see. Just because it makes sense doesn't mean the federal government's going to do it.
Right.
But we'll see.
Okay.
Proposed fiscal year 2022-23 capital budget. What happens is every year the Office of Public Finance does a calculation of what's going to be available in the Chapter 12 program. When we went to you last month, we went with you with the number of what they told us that the allocation would be for Passaic for Chapter 12. Well, our friends in Public Finance found some extra money, and we've got a couple of $100,000 more that we're eligible to apply for. So in the spirit of not leaving any money on the table, we're just coming back to you with a revised budget. We're going to spend the money to renovate classrooms, which is what you need to constantly be doing at a college. So with your approval, we'll go to the Board of School Estimate at the county and ask for these funds to be approved next month. So pretty simple, not much, not very complicated there. Purchases of goods and services. Happy to answer any questions about any of those. Mike or Stephen, you have any comment on any of the purchases? I know you both reviewed them.
I found it pretty straightforward.
Personnel items.
Yep, and we do not need an executive session this evening, so
Okay. Yep. Okay.
you can move on, Dennis.
All right, I'll move on. So let's see, let me get through all these X's that I just X'd out. And may I have a motion to adopt consent resolution number 3, approving the following items as set forth in the memoranda dated February 15th, 2022. The proposed fiscal year 2022-23 capital budget revised, the purchases of goods and services, and also the personnel items.
So moved.
Second.
Okay.
Moved by Vice Chair Tanis and seconded by Trustee Esquiche.
Yep.
On the motion to adopt the consent agenda, Trustee Drakeford,
Yes.
Trustee Esquiche,
Yes.
Trustee Glovin. Trustee Glovin? Is he not here?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a yes. Very good. Thank you. Trustee Montanez Diaz-Denay.
Yes.
Thank you. Trustee Moody,
Yes.
Trustee Nutter,
Yes.
Trustee Poe,
Yes.
Vice Chair Tanis,
Yes.
Chairman Marco.
Yes.
Consent agenda has been approved.
Okay. Are there any remarks from the trustees?
Yes, I have one. Just that in the memo that was sent to us, it does say the budget was increased from 3,200, or I don't know, what's that, 3? I don't know, the numbers are off. There's a 0 missing on the end of the 3,200,000. So when we do our minutes, the number is incorrect.
Appreciated, and we'll make sure that happens.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Drakeford. Any other comments from the trustees? Okay, hearing none. We have any public members, public participation on the call, Mike?
No.
No? All right. If there's nothing else, any other business? May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Move it.
I'll move it.
All right,
Trustee Moody, Trustee Glovin.
and Gloven second.
Okay,
Trustee Moody moved it, and trustee.
right. Okay, so on the motion to adjourn, Trustee Drakeford,
Yes.
Trustee Esquiche,
Yes.
Trustee Glovin,
Yes.
Trustee Montanez Diaz-Denay,
Yes.
Trustee Moody,
Yes.
Trustee Nutter,
Yes.
Trustee Poe,
Yes.
Vice Chair Tanis,
Yes.
Chairman Marco.
Yes.
Meeting is adjourned.
Thanks,
Everybody
everybody.
stay safe.
Hey,
Good night,
everybody
everyone.
stay safe.
Next month we will feed you. So
Yes, next month in person.
next
And,
month.
You're not
Can't
getting
wait.
meals delivered. It won't be virtual.
Can I get a
That's right.
delivery?
we'll-
No, you'll have to wait